What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Figure It Out of the Basement's action figure talk show, quarantine edition number 479. I don't know how many it's been now.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Today, we are going to be doing our top 5 Black Series Sith wish list. Of course, last week we did Jedi, so if you didn't check that out, watch that video. We'll put a card up right about now, but then come back and watch this one. Of course, I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
We hope all of you guys are doing well out there. Couple quick notes here. If you're still going out for quarantine supplies, going on essential trips, and you need to take that special stop at the toy aisle, the latest wave of Black Series figures have been hitting Walmart and Target. This is the Count Dooku Commander Bly wave. So if you're out on those trips, you might want to take a little trip down the toy aisle and see what is there, so you don't have to wait till June to get your hands on Dooku or Bly. Although you might want to wait for Bly to get the correct Paint App version. So yeah, let's jump into the list. Of course, we are doing 5, and we also have an honorable mention this time around. Oh. And our honorable mention is none other than Darth MALAK. Ooh. Hooray! From Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. He's Revan's homeboy. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with him. Follows a similar path of Revan, where he was once a Jedi, but then turned to the dark side. Although, Revan might turn back at some point. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, don't want to spoil anything. Years has it been since those games were released? He also has that face piece that looks pretty dope.
Yeah, because he's actually missing his lower jaw.
Ooh.
So he wears that face piece over his face. And he's just a really cool character. He's pretty much the main villain in a lot of ways of KOTOR. As far as my memory goes, it's been a while since I've actually played KOTOR all the way through.
Right.
But yeah, I've always loved his character design, and of course he has a 3 3/4 inch figure, and it's super expensive. So it would be awesome to have MALAK go with Revan, because of course they are intertwined with each other.
Yeah, I think that's why it'd be nice to have him, just because we already have the Revan.
Agreed. It should be noted that we are excluding dark side Force users off of this list. This is strictly a list of people who have managed to secure the Darth title.
Right.
So no Savage, no Kylo Ren, even though we have a million, no Asajj Ventress. Right? She never hits Sith status, right?
Right.
Right. So,
no Inquisitors.
If you're wondering where any of those are, there's your answer. So, honorable mention, Darth MALAK. Jrick, why don't you give us number 5?
Coming in at number 5 is a character from SWTOR. Oh. That would be Darth MALGUS. We have him on the more towards the bottom of this list because we don't know that much about him. I know he has a book series, a book or two, but really his design is just super dope. He almost looks like Darth Vader unmasked.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's kind of the design they were going for was, let's just make a guy that kind of looks like Darth Vader. I have his 3 3/4 inch figure, one of the few 3 3/4 inch figures I actually own.
Wow.
And I just think he looks badass. Neither of us have played the Old Republic because we're not really into MMOs. I've heard it's great. Heard it's got a lot of great Star Wars moments in it, but it's a big time commitment. It's a big time commitment to play all the way through an MMO. An RPG is one thing, like KOTOR 1 or KOTOR 2, but MMO is a whole nother business. And he just looks super badass. I feel like most of our picks on this list are going to be purely from a design standpoint.
Absolutely.
So if we're not really, we don't really have a lot to say, it's probably because we're just like, yeah, that looks cool, so I would buy an action figure of that. And that is exactly...
And, Sith Lords are just... It's not that they're just in video games. They're part of the entire Star Wars universe as a whole, which I am a fan of anything from the Star Wars universe, mostly.
True.
So even things I'm not really, I mean, I've technically haven't played all the way through KOTOR, so I have a Revan figure, so Sith Lords are just cool.
Yeah, 100%. And then coming in at number 4 is another character from KOTOR, and that is Darth Sion, the Lord of Pain.
Ooh. I really like the idea of Darth Sion because it fuels my theory, my outlook, that using the dark side is not really natural, and obviously you start to physically deteriorate, and Sion is a perfect example of that because he starts like cracking, and
he straight up looks like a corpse.
Yeah,
for,
I read
for the
that
most part.
Similar to like how Maul survived, that's basically how he keeps living. Like he lives through the dark side, and there's an even cooler representation of that later in this list. But I love the idea of like Sith want power, but the only way to maintain that power is to unlock some way of becoming immortal, which a lot of Sith Lords have expressed interest in doing, and just like pouring all their hatred and fear and anger and just keeping themselves going even though their organic human body are deteriorating. I think it's a cool idea. Coming in at 3 is an interesting character, Darth Plagueis, first mentioned in Revenge of the Sith, first mentioned in a film. Ooh. So it's already super interesting. I love that they would mention, and not really an ancient Sith, but a older Sith Lord like before the prequels in a prequel, because they don't really expand on the Sith that much in the films. So I've always been intrigued by the whole, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and now it's kind of a meme. In Legends, he does have an appearance that they could and have done a figure. It does have a 3 3/4 inch. It's like the same species as the Banking Clan people.
Yep.
The Munes, I think they're called. In canon, he does not have a physical appearance. So obviously we'd have to go with the Legends.
And it would be awesome to get his Legends appearance. He comes with that big staff lightsaber that we all assumed for the longest time was going to be what Rey's staff turned out to be. Which, of course, that didn't end up happening.
Yeah, they would never do anything as cool as that.
Yeah. Even though it would be the literal easiest thing to do. Just be like, oh yeah, she randomly found it while she was like scrapping and it just has never activated before, but...
Especially since there's a Palpatine connection with her lineage and Rise of Skywalker, so, maybe he would have planted his old master's lightsaber for her to find or something like that, but nah.
But yeah, that would have been too cool. Which, this is totally off topic, but where do you think that Rey got her yellow kyber crystal from?
I was telling you the other day about how much I hate the idea that Starkiller Base is Ilum, because they destroy Starkiller Base, and I feel like that's even more insulting to destroy it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't played Jedi Fallen Order at this point, mild spoilers, but Ilum legitimately is confirmed to be Starkiller Base.
That is not my canon, I'll say it. That is not my canon. Because I love that arc in the Clone Wars 3D show where Yoda takes the younglings and they do the ritual, what is called the Gathering, and like you have to light that frozen waterfall thing, and it's like you do the same exact thing in Jedi Fallen Order. And I love that connection, and I love that arc, and I love the lore of a Jedi finding their own kyber crystal and how like it leads you to it, and you can't just pick any crystal. It's like it's a specific crystal for you. And I love the idea of Luke doing that in between episode Empire Strikes Back and Return. Like I love the idea of Luke going to like an old like overrun Ilum and just taking that journey on his own and finding his green kyber crystal and igniting it for the first time. Like that is it, what in my mind happened. So I hate the idea that it's Starkiller Base.
Yeah, which hopefully in the latest Star Wars comic book that takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi, I hope we get to see Luke acquiring the green kyber crystal, because it's already been confirmed. I'm sure the issues have been delayed due to the virus, but
right.
One of the upcoming issues, he has a yellow lightsaber on the cover, so I'm also kind of like question mark about that one.
Yep.
But hopefully we do get to see him get the green lightsaber. But just to get a little bit back on track, back to Plagueis, it would be also awesome to get his master, Darth Tenenbrous, something like that, just because it is the Cantina Band species as a Sith Lord.
I mean, I'm down.
And that is the most ridiculous yet awesome thing possibly in Star Wars. All right, so coming in at number 2 is a character that J-Rick would probably be slightly more familiar with over myself personally, and that is Darth Bane, who has a very interesting thing with his character in that his legends and canon appearances are almost completely different.
Yeah, he was kind of reintroduced into canon.
My knowledge of him comes from just seeing the books he appears in, the Legends books, where he has the old design where he's kind of just like a bald old man with some...
Yeah, it's like face paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in Clone Wars, Yoda encounters him on Malachor, which is another reason I hate Rise of Skywalker. I'm not going to get into it.
Let's just rant about Rise of Skywalker for the next 20 minutes. I'm sure people would enjoy that discussion.
Yes, but Yoda goes to like the Sith world of Malachor, like a dark side planet, which would have been great if it was in Rise of Skywalker instead of Exegol, but he encounters Darth Bane, and he has this like new look. He kind of looks like a medieval knight.
Almost like samurai-ish in the helmet.
Yeah, and he banters with Yoda a little bit, and Yoda knows that he's Darth Bane, and obviously, like, the most important aspect of this Sith Lord is that he created the Rule of Two, which is essential, like, Sith ideology after him.
Yep.
Literally
and
all
he's
the
also
movies and everything.
He's also voiced by Mark Hamill in Clone Wars, which is awesome.
True.
So which design would you rather have, the canon Clone Wars design or the non-canon Legends design?
I'd probably go with the new canon. I'd take either or, but I would go with the canon look just because I think the samurai look is more interesting than a bald guy with face paint.
Yeah, true, because he kind of ends up looking, similar to like Darth Sion, Darth Malgus, where they're all just bald, gray dudes.
Yeah. So
does being a Sith Lord make you lose your hair? Is that part of the criteria?
Count Dooku has his hair.
Barely. But yeah, I think I would agree. I think I would go with the canon design just because it looks a little interesting. But comment down below which version of Bane you guys would prefer to see in the Black Series.
Coming in at number 1 is Darth Nihilus from KOTOR 2. And there's just so many reasons why I really like this Sith Lord. Number 1, design. He looks like Ghostface with like red on his mask. He wears a mask, and it's a super dope design. He was involved with the Mandalorian Wars, where it was like the Republic versus the Mandalorians. He fights with a one-handed style. I'm guessing similar to Count Dooku, which would be a Form 2. I'm not sure if he actually fights with Form 2, but I know I read that he fights with a one-handed style, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of one-handed lightsaber combat. And the most interesting thing about him that I learned is that his spirit behind the mask lives on after like his organic body decays. So similar to Darth Sion, he just uses all of his hatred, his anger, his fear to keep his spirit going, even though his physical body has deteriorated away and decayed.
True.
And it's kind of reminds me to a Sith Lord in the Darth Vader Dark Lord of the Sith Charles Soule comic with Momin, who, when he acquires like the helmet that the Sith Lord used to wear, and the Sith Lord is eventually able to come back if someone puts it on, it kind of just reminds me of that. And I like the idea of like your spirit or your Force essence can move on. It's almost kind of like Sith version of a Force ghost.
True. Darth Nihilus's design is awesome. Ever since, seeing the box art of KOTOR 2, and you're just like, who is this Sith Lord? Why does he look so cool? And then I was just like, yeah, I'm just never going to play the game.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, that was our list of Sith Lords we would like to see in the Black Series line. Of course, don't forget to comment down below what Sith Lords you would like to see in the Black Series. Of course, if you enjoyed this episode of Figure It Out, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. We're always talking about Star Wars Black Series on the channel, doing tons of reviews as well. If you are listening this deep into the episode, make sure you check out my Jango Fett review, which went live a couple days ago, and that was based on what reviews you guys wanted to see next from us. Jango Fett won our little poll we posted on YouTube. And I broke my Jango Fett for that review, so it's mandatory that you watch that review
I
so
agree.
I don't feel so bad.
I agree.
I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
See you guys later. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and we will see you guys next time.